We're going to set up some discussions together today in Canvas, and I've got some things that you probably aren't familiar with, even if you've done discussions before. But I'm going to start you from the very beginning. To set up our discussion, we can do it in one of two ways. We can create one by going to the Discussions tab and then clicking on the Add Discussion, but I typically set everything up right through my modules. So I'm going to go back into Modules, and then I want to do it in this Week 1 module here. I'm going to click the plus sign. Let's do the down arrow and then Discussion. We want to create a new topic, or you could grab one that's already been created. And I am just going to call this one Sample Discussion and then Add Item. Once we've done that, that discussion shows up at the bottom of our module, of course, and I can click on it so that I can start working with it. Let's click those three dots in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to click that and then choose Edit. So it's giving me just this blank rich content editor now. So I can type anything in here that I want to in terms of instructions. Just to keep things simple, I'm going to go ahead and start with my accessible template. And I put that together here in a free PDF for you. I'm going to grab the HTML code here. It looks super scary, I know, but I'm going to just go ahead and select all of that code and then copy it. On my computer, I can do a Control-C. You can do a Command-C if you're on a Mac, a Control-C. Don't worry, you don't need to know anything about this code at all. Let's go back to our topic. Instead of typing in my information here, I want to use this template. So I'm going to go over to the HTML toggle. And if I click this here, it gets me to my HTML editor box. All I've got to do is to paste that code in. I'm going to do a Control-V as in Victor, or you do a Command-V if you are on a Mac. Now we click that toggle one more time. So I'm going to click it, and I'm back here at my discussion board. Let's make some more room. I'm just going to click, hold, and drag on that array of dots there. And let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit. So you'll notice that I've got a couple of important things here. Well, first of all, I've got joined the conversation, and then I'm going to put my instructions here. As I continue to scroll down, I think it's also important that you include some posting guidelines right here in the instructions, even if they're also in your syllabus. I like to keep them really simple. You can also, in my template, copy just the code for those posting guidelines if you want to do the rest of it on your own. Let's put our discussion instructions here. I also want to change the name. I don't want to call this a sample discussion. This is fallacy scenario discussion. We're working on logical fallacies right now in one of my classes. Now, I went ahead and just asked ChatGPT to come up with some instructions. So I am going to keep things simple and copy the instructions here. I'm going to take that example scenario here in just a second. I'm going to do a Control-C to copy that. And then let's paste it right into this box, Control-V to paste it in. So I've got that there, and then I've got some room down here to put that example scenario. So if you've got some instructions that could be misconstrued, sometimes it's really nice just to keep things super clear to also include an example. And ChatGPT gave me an example. So I'm going to copy this with a Control-C or Command-C on your Mac. Back to my topic, and then do a Control-V. Notice that my accessibility checker is not showing any issues, which is perfect. Let's continue to scroll down and take a look at these settings. Now, these are settings for our individual discussion. Later on in the video, we're going to look at settings for all of the discussions in this course. So for this particular discussion, I do want all of my students' names to show up, but you've got some really great options there. I don't choose this disallow threaded replies. I like the threaded replies because that's where I've got the original reply and then nested underneath the other replies. If you were instead to disallow those, your discussion board would be much more like a bulletin board where everybody just posted, but there was no back and forth. So I'm not going to disallow. Sometimes I do choose this. Participants must respond to the topic before reviewing other replies. Just a little warning for this one. I've had students cheat their way so they can see what other students posted by just posting something blank and then posting again so that they can see those replies. So while this works, students know how to get around it, but it's there. I also do definitely want it graded. I don't worry about the podcast feed. I definitely want it graded. I don't do liking in my class, but you could allow that. You could also do a group discussion. This is a great option. You can set up a category or have one previously set up, and I'm just going to do this one that says discussion groups. I am going to split by students per group, and I can just automatically have Canvas throw students into groups of 5 for this discussion and then hit save. I don't actually want groups though. I just wanted to show you how that works. So let me unclick that. I do want the collapsed. Expanded means that they see every reply and the sub replies underneath that. So I'm going to leave it collapsed. And then I like to have the newest first. You could do the oldest first, completely up to you. And then points possible, we're going to do this one for 10 points. I do want to display it as points. I'm going to put this one actually into their participation grade. You can do peer reviews. This allows students to grade other students' posts. A really great way to do peer reviews for something like an essay, you can assign a rubric and have the peer go through and grade it using the rubric. So a really nice feature. I'm going to leave that off though. If you were to turn it on, you could either assign the peers manually or automatically, but I am going to leave that one off. And then we've got the due date. So I'm going to go ahead and set a due date for, how about Monday? And then I always set an until date so that students cannot just continue to post as much as they want. So I'm going to set up my until date here to be the end of the week. It will close on the 6th. Now I am in the Free for Canvas account, so when I chose graded up here, it did not give me the option to have any checkpoints, which means you can have multiple due dates. Let me show you what that looks like over in my school's account. So I'm again in a different discussion board, I'm editing it. When I chose graded, I can also choose this assign graded checkpoints. When you scroll down, you'll notice that you've got multiple due dates here. So I've got the reply to topic date. I can choose a date for that one. And then I can also choose the required replies. And then I'll do the following Wednesday for that one. If it's not enabled for you at your school, check with your Canvas administrator. They can probably turn that on. It's a really great feature. Let's go back to this discussion board. Scrolling down to the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Publish. You can also add a rubric for your discussion boards, and it makes grading super easy, especially if you've got 2 different due dates. I'm going to click the 3 dots, and then you can add a rubric right here. I've got a video linked in my description down below that shows you exactly how to create those rubrics. Now that we've got this set up, I can go ahead and post as the instructor. So I can go ahead and write my post here. This is a rich content editor, so students will also have all of these options, including the ability to upload an image. They can also insert files, so lots and lots of different options there. I am going to go ahead and just hit reply. Let's see what this looks like from the student's point of view. So scrolling up to the top, I want to click View as Student, and this puts me in as test student, first name test, last name student. A great way to see exactly what your students can see. So the student can see my reply here. I can go ahead and reply for the student as well. So this is going to be test student reply. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hit reply. And remember, I had latest up on top, so the student's is on top of mine. As a student, I can reply to another student's post. Let me go ahead and hit cancel because I want to show you what this looks like if we scroll up to the top and choose View Split Screen. This is a really nice feature. As I click View Split Screen, I'm going to go down here and reply. It's going to create a split screen that has the instructions and the posts on one side, and then my reply to that post on the other side. Okay, I'm going to cancel here. Let's close this. Now I also have mine set up so that students can report a post. I'm going to show you where that is. It's in our class level settings. As the student, I can click on any of these posts, click the 3 dots, and I've got that report option. And they can either flag this one as inappropriate, offensive, abusive, or other. I'm going to do inappropriate. and then click Submit, notice how it doesn't flag it for the student view, but it will flag it in my view. Let's go ahead and leave student view. I also have it set up so it's going to send me an email so I know exactly when something has been reported. I'm back here in my view. If I scroll down now, I can see that I've got a little number 1 warning on this. If I hover over it, it says summary of report types, and we've got an inappropriate flag there. As the instructor, I've got some additional options. If I click the 3 dots here, and this is whether or not it has been reported by a student. I'm now seeing the options to edit this student's post. I can also delete this student's post. Okay, but let's talk about where that setting lives along with a couple of other settings. I'm going to go back into our discussions tab, and then you'll notice up here at the top, I've got a setting. So I'm going to click on that settings button, and here is my report replies. I also allow students to attach files to a discussion. You can unallow that. I do let them edit and delete their own replies. I give them the ability to create discussion topics, but not to do so anonymously. And I also like mine being marked as read automatically. This is a setting that you can set for yourself and students can also set for themselves. Let's go ahead and save these settings. You're also going to need to grade these, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways to grade discussions. I'm just here in discussions. You can click the 3 dots and go immediately to speed grader. I do not have a rubric associated with this one, although I usually do. And you'll notice that I've got the student's reply here. Anything that the student has posted will show up right here, but you can also view the full discussion so that you can see how the student is interacting with other students in the class. And then it's just normal speed grader over here. You can give them their points, give them any comments that you've got. But I want to show you one more really great way to grade this. Let's go back into our course. We're going to do this one right through grades. Now in my courses, most of my discussion boards are really community building. I have them share pictures of their pets, talk about their favorite coffee drinks and things like that. So a great way to grade these is to do a default grade. Now I only have 1 student in this class, which isn't very exciting, just our test students. But if you had lots and lots of students, this is a huge time saver. If I just want them to have participated, I can click on the 3 dots here and then do set default grade. And I can go ahead and give everybody a 10 out of 10 and then do our default grade. Now I can guarantee that I didn't get to absolutely everything when it comes to discussion boards. If there's something that you love and want to share, go ahead and add that in the comments below. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. I've got another video for you here.